Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of Chorus Place. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me for today's conversation. In today's episode, I'll be talking about friendships. As always, if you like what you hear, please leave a review and or comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. I've also added a few discussion questions. Also, please follow the podcast page I've made on Facebook if you haven't already. Please feel free to send me any questions, comments, or suggestions. If you'd like to contact me via email instead, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. If you are new here, welcome. I'm your host, Cora, and I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. Before I get into today's topic, I want to share today's verse, which is from Galatians 2, verse 20, which says, "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." I think that what this verse means is that when we become Christians, our old sinful spirits die, and then God gives us a new, pure heart. Now, sit back, get comfortable, and enjoy today's episode. Today, I want to talk to you about friendships. In many cases, friendships are amazing, but sometimes friendships can be rough. I have unfortunately been in both of those situations at times. When friendships are rough, it can be hard to know what to do. Some things I have learned, and I'm still trying to learn honestly, are that not everyone wants to be friends. Friendships don't necessarily last forever. Friendships can either be really close, or you can feel more like acquaintances than friends. Friendships are sometimes really rough, and that friends will hurt you sometimes. I have noticed that having a few really good friends to talk to when you're struggling is really helpful. But there are also some people that aren't necessarily people you should be friends with. I have been through both situations where I have had some really close friends and some that weren't so good. It's not always easy to make new friends. It's extremely hard when you've been deeply hurt by someone before, especially when you're really close to them. When that happens, it's okay and totally normal to feel upset, hurt, betrayed, and numb. I've gone through that before, and it's not easy, but we have to trust that God will get us through it. Going through hard things isn't fun, but trials help us to grow closer to God. When you do have friendship or relationship issues, it's important to ask or give forgiveness. I actually wrote something about forgiveness, which I'll share in an upcoming episode. Some of the good memories I have with friends include ones made at youth groups, small groups, church, and with neighbors I used to have before I moved. I have a lot of friends in my life that I'm so thankful for. Having good friends is so important. They can help you when you're struggling, be there for you, laugh with you, cry with you, protect you, talk with you, pray with and for you, uplift you, hang out with you, guide you, help you in your journey as a Christian, encourage you, and much more. It's important to have friends that will pull you up and along to Jesus instead of pulling you down and away from him. I love having friends, especially when they're Christian friends. Christian friends are wonderful to do Bible studies with and to help you share the gospel with others. I'm so thankful for all of my friends. Having friends is such an incredible gift from God. True friends will always be there for you. They will listen and care for you when you are struggling. A few genuine and deep friendships are so much better than having many fake or shallow friendships. I am so thankful that God has given me a few really good and healthy friendships. I have one friend who I haven't known for a really long time, but my friendship with her seems to be extremely healthy. I have only known her since early October of 2020, but being friends with her has been absolutely amazing so far. Having her friendship in my life has been such a blessing and gift to me. She encourages me, makes me feel cared about, acknowledges my feelings, listens when I need to talk, and she prays for me. She is so sweet, kind, caring, loyal, trustworthy, wise, fun to be around, compassionate, godly, and supportive. Sometimes, God chooses to take things away from us though, and in return, he gives us things that are so much better for us. In early to mid-August of 2020, I unfortunately had an amazing friendship, or at least a friendship I thought was amazing, end unexpectedly, and it left me feeling hurt, sad, mad, confused, heartbroken, crushed, and devastated, and I guess also just a little lost because she was one of my best friends. To not have that now is still really hard for me sometimes, but I feel like I'm doing better with it now than I was. I think God took that friendship away from me because he knew I was going to meet my other friend just a couple of months after that, and it was going to work out a lot better than my old best friend. With the friend I have now, I feel like she and I are able to get together a lot more than I was ever able to with my old best friend. Sometimes it's still hard due to schedules, but it seems like she and I get to hang out quite a bit more than I was able to with my old best friend. I love getting together with my friend when we are able to. She is a super great friend, and I'm so glad I have her in my life. God took a really hard thing in my life, the big friendship loss from August 2020, and He blessed me with an amazing friendship that I probably wouldn't have now if I didn't go through that trial. That was probably one of the hardest trials I've had to go through in my life, but God used it for His good and His glory. God deserves all the glory, honor, and praise for giving me a friendship I wasn't aware that I needed in one of the hardest seasons of my life. I mean, I've had a lot of hard times in my life, but losing friendships is definitely not something I would recommend to anyone ever. Losing a friendship hurts, stings, and at times can seem impossible to heal from. Healing is possible, though. God is powerful enough that He can help us heal from losing friendships, even toxic friendships. Now, I want to go through the discussion questions. Here they are. 1. How do you personally know when to walk away from a friendship? I think it's important to discern when it's right for you because some situations can be very hard to tell. One of the signs that you need to walk away is that the friendship has broken in an unhealthy way, like you are being blamed when you didn't do anything wrong. In order to determine whether or not you should walk away from it, I'd recommend praying about it and maybe even asking another friend what they think you should do. 2. What boundaries do you think friendships should have? I personally feel like trying to build trust is one of the most important things you should do before you talk about really deep and personal things. Another boundary that's good to have is to always do your best to tell the truth as soon as possible when there's a problem, so you don't blame each other and damage the friendship. 3. If you could sit down with your younger self, what would you tell them about friendships based on what you know now from your own experiences? I'd tell my younger self to try to always speak with love and honesty, no matter what it may cost you. To always have at least one friend or person you can talk to in times of trouble that will give Christian advice and be there to love, support, comfort, and guide you. When you do get hurt by a friend, though, it's important to try to not let the pain consume you, even though it hurts a lot. It's not always easy, but it will be okay. It just takes time and healing. Sometimes, healing can take a little while, and that's okay. When you go through big friendship losses, the pain can sometimes feel overwhelming and extremely hard. I just want you to know that it happens to everyone at some point, and that if you are feeling like that right now, you're not alone. The pain that comes from losing a big friendship is real, but God can take that pain and use it to grow you to be more like Him and to grow your faith, even when it seems impossible. God is the only one who can truly take the pain we're struggling with and fill the void in our lives that happened when that person left our lives. I think that when people walk out of our lives, it can feel like there is a piece of us that is missing. That is very hard, but God can help you through the pain. You just have to trust Him. When we trust God to help us through the hard moments in our lives, that can be so life-changing, helpful, good, healthy, and amazing. It's not always easy to do it, but God loves you and He wants to help you through any trial. If you try to go through trials on your own, they're going to feel much harder. But if you rely on God and His strength on a regular basis, see Psalm 105, verse 4, it will help. I know that sometimes life is hard, scary, and unpredictable, but we serve a God who holds the past, present, and future in His hands. All we have to do is trust Him. No matter what we face, God is still good. I understand that it can occasionally feel like our whole world is crumbling and falling apart underneath us, but it's in those moments where we should be trusting God the most. 4. What advice would you give to someone who is going through a friendship loss or something like that? I think I would tell them to try to not let the pain consume them, share Bible verses, pray for and with them, try to empathize with them, tell them that I'm there for them, and share what helped me get through any friendship loss. I think I would also tell them to just keep doing the next right thing and to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Doing the next right thing and putting one foot in front of the other can seem really hard sometimes, but it's in those moments where we need to trust God the most. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please leave a review/comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. Also, please follow my podcast page on Facebook if you haven't already so you never miss an update. If you have any verses you'd like me to read on a future episode, or if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org, send me a message on my podcast page on Facebook, or a voice message through the link in the show notes, and I will get back to you when I can. Hope you tune in next week for the 6th episode.